What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome to another video. Today got a little bit of news mixed in with the discussion, and I want to talk about some stuff when it comes to Dragon Quest and more. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we are getting into the best selling games in Japan for the past month in August. Guys, Nintendo Switch did amazing. There was some pretty incredible things that I wanted to go over. Obviously, I always do the Media Create sales reports every single week. You guys can always catch those either Wednesday or Thursday, just depending on when I can get to it. But I wanted to highlight some of the stuff here, especially with Splatoon 2. This game is incredible, the type of run that it's had, considering that it was launched last year. So here are the best selling games of August in Japan. Shout outs to Japanese Nintendo for rounding up the information, and also about the Nintendo Switch console sales. We'll talk about that. So the best selling games in August: Splatoon 2 with 96,639 units, and this does include digital sales as well, from what I understand, because this is from Famitsu and not Media Create. So apparently there might be some digital sales put into this. Number 2 was Made in Wario Gorgeous, which is the new WarioWare Gold game. That sold 90,121 units. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 86,897 units. Taiko Drum Master sold 77,761 units. So if you want to see some more information, you can always check out the tweet there. But also another big thing about this, guys, is that the Nintendo Switch was the #1 system sold, of course, but it nearly sold 200,000 units, and it was the 6th consecutive month in a row that it was the best selling hardware there. So pretty much the whole Monster Hunter effect wore out really quickly in Japan, because remember, Monster Hunter did come out this year. Valkyria Chronicles 4 was already out. Dragon Ball FighterZ. There was a number of high-profile PlayStation 4 Japanese games that already launched, and while the PlayStation 4 did well when those were out, it kind of just dropped really quickly, because already 6 months in a row, 6 consecutive months, that the Nintendo Switch is the #1 system sold, with accurately 199,473 units sold, so almost 200,000. If you remember what we got with the NPD sales reports for July, the Nintendo Switch sold 262,000 units plus. So Japan is keeping up with the West when it comes to it, which is just amazing to see as well, considering like how many more people are here in the US than in Japan. But the Nintendo Switch can still sell upward of almost 200,000 units, or right at that amount, without the bigger or heavier hitters yet. A lot of the Switch sales are coming from games that came out from last year, in addition to a combination of stuff that's coming out this year as well. But let's talk a little bit about Splatoon 2, because this game, being the #1 game sold pretty much in Japan, their best seller for August, and after more than a year, because you have to remember Splatoon 2 came out July of 2017, but more than a year later, it's still the top game sold for the month, which is just crazy to see. I've never seen a game have this much like length with anything really in the last couple years, or the last few years. I haven't seen a game last this long on the sales charts at such a high level. Now, we've seen stuff like Mario Kart 7, we've seen Pokemon games, Animal Crossing, a lot of those has kept up in the top 10 or top 20, but Splatoon 2, for a system as low as the install base is compared to other systems out there, it's great to see how well it's doing. But I also have to add that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is literally selling like a brand new Mario Kart game. It's as if Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U never existed, and I guess it might as well then, right? With the Wii U doing as bad as it did, especially in Japan, the Wii U did absolutely god awful in Japan. It was so bad. So especially doing as bad as it did, I think for many people this is essentially a brand new Mario Kart game for them, considering that it didn't come out too long ago. It was only 2014, but it continues to do this well. That's really good. You don't see it too much. Now, moving into the next thing here, guys, when it comes to the sales factors and what's going on, we have Tokyo Game Show this month. At the end of the month, Tokyo Game Show is happening. There's a couple high profile Nintendo Switch games coming out in Japan, at least, well, one of them, but the rest of them worldwide, and that's Valkyria Chronicles 4. That's going to be worldwide at the end of the month. You also have Dragon Ball Fighters for the Nintendo Switch. That's worldwide at the end of the month. I think there's like a day difference between the West and the East. And then also one game that's going to be in Japan, but not the rest of the world until October, and that's the World Ends With You Final Remix. That's coming out in Japan at the end of the month, but in the West, it's going to be October, which is good. There's too many games in September anyway. But we do have Tokyo Game Show this month, and I am going to really be looking forward to seeing what some developers announce. Now, we could, guys, from what I'm hearing, we could see some pretty good announcements for the Nintendo Switch at Tokyo Game Show or around that time, or it could be at the, of course, later fall direct. That's eventually going to happen at some point. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if we maybe get some word. I know like people have been waiting for this big direct and everything like that, but I do think that we could hear something because Nintendo is launching their online. That's pretty much what I'm going off of. They're launching their online, and there are a number of bigger Japanese games coming out this month. So I'm thinking that Nintendo has something in store for us. But even if we don't get something this month, because that's a possibility, maybe we do, maybe we don't, I do think that Tokyo Game Show is going to have some pretty cool announcements from Japanese developers, just because you can't really deny the sales that's been going on here, guys. Nintendo Switch has been selling like crazy in Japan, and I think a lot of Japanese developers were, where's that gif at from like Kermit the Frog, like on the typewriter? They were kind of essentially doing that when they saw how well the Nintendo Switch was, just kind of scrambling to get games out. But now that the system has been out for more than a year, people are getting more familiar with the hardware. I think developers are seeing how stuff is selling. We got the news that My Hero One's Justice on the Nintendo Switch outsold the PlayStation 4 version, which is kind of somewhat rare to see with a bigger game. I mean, I know there's not a lot of day and date games out there with the Nintendo Switch and also with the PlayStation 4, but we've seen a lot of like Koei Tecmo stuff, and it's always done better on the PlayStation 4 or been pretty close. But now we're actually starting to see quite a bit of a shift, just because with the sales numbers here, the Nintendo Switch is getting near 5 million units, or it's pretty much at 5 million units in Japan, where the PlayStation 4 is at 7 million. So in about a year and a half, a little bit less than that or so, the Nintendo Switch has actually pretty much caught up. I think it's going to catch up probably by the time that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee comes out. It'll pretty much have caught it by then, if not surpassed it, probably in that month. So November, no later than that, we're going to see the Switch pass up the PlayStation 4 total sales within a 2-year limit. So that's also something to, I guess, note as well. But the PlayStation 4 is more for the Western territories. Obviously, it's doing really well here in the US, doing extremely well in Europe. So that's not necessarily like a surprising thing that the Nintendo Switch, considering that it is a portable as well as a home console. So that is expected, right? But looking on to the Tokyo Game Show, I'm expecting some nice stuff to come out of there, guys. I think that we could get some more announcements of classic games. I know that we got Grandia and Langrisser. Those are coming back. So I'm thinking that there maybe is something more. I'm not exactly sure who's going to announce it or kind of what's going to be going down there, but maybe we get some more classic revivals. I think this has been the year of classic revivals. There's just been tons of announcements with stuff like Streets of Rage coming back. So I would love to see some developers kind of reach into the backlog and pull out some more classic games. So maybe we get some more announcements there. I think we're going to get some more announcements from like Koei Tecmo and what they're going to be planning, because they're pretty much the only Japanese studio that said, hey, we're going to devote resources well before the Switch comes out to games that are coming out this year, which is incredibly hard to do, guys. It's not something that you can just do, but they did it, and I appreciate the support that they've given and the confidence that they had with Nintendo going into it. So we'll see what happens going forward with Koei Tecmo, and even like, I think maybe a little bit more interesting is going to be Bandai Namco. Could this be the event that we finally get a Xenosaga? So I'm definitely going to be talking about this just a little bit, guys. Like, Xenosaga is one of those games to where I honestly feel that it needs a remaster. It needs a remaster, it needs a remake, it needs something, especially coming off the success of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This game is absolutely amazing in what Monolith Soft has done. I think bringing back Xenosaga, or getting the initial announcement at least, is something that they could do. Monolith Soft is big enough. They can work on on multiple projects. We know that they made Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with around 40 staff members, while the rest of them worked on other projects. So could we be getting a small splinter team to be working on a remaster of Xenosaga for the Nintendo Switch? I think that's something to look out for. There were some rumors, but not many people could kind of verify or back those up. So maybe we finally see that. And of course, we also have the Western release of Dragon Quest XI that came out last year in Japan. So I'm excited about that. I will be live streaming that tomorrow. So look forward to some Dragon Quest, but I'm excited about that game as well. But I'm just hoping that Tokyo Game Show kind of brings the goods this year. Last year was a little, it was okay. It was still a little light on Nintendo Switch stuff because people were kind of shocked and dumbfounded that the Switch was doing so well at that time. Switch had only been out for a few months. So I think this year is going to be a bit different. I think we can be getting some pretty cool announcements, but we'll have to wait and see on that and what the developers do. So what do you guys think about all the different topics that we discussed here, from the Japanese sales, Tokyo Game Show, Dragon Quest XI, Xenosaga potentially coming back? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet, in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages and consider supporting PlayerEssence. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.